Fro Show. Hey, what's going on? This is Jimmy Martin of the up-and-coming, soon-to-be-launched Jimmy Fro Show. What you're going to be hearing is an interview with Nate Mackey, sound man extraordinaire / musician / very cool guy. Being that this is one of 2 podcast sessions that I recorded, they're not polished, and there's a lot of editing to do. But for those of you that are getting a pre-release for the purpose of feedback, it's going to start with the interview portion, and then I believe a minute or 2 in, you'll hear the Jimmy Fro podcast bumper. And I'll be editing as I record this, so bear with me. Let me know what you think, and have a good time listening.
So I was just like, I'll make more. I made, I think, 4 speaker cables.
Wow.
And made them work. You know what I mean? And I had, all my amps had binding posts on it, so at least I could just cut the end of the speaker cable off. I mean, I would cut a speaker cable in half if I had a 50-footer. It's like, well, I need 2 speaker cables for monitors. Cut it. Make it work. Cut it and use binding posts. I got 2 quarter-inch ends. Cut it, and I got speaker ends to go into the amp. Done.
It's easy to underestimate those big outdoor sound gigs, because you have to account for the distance from the stage to your board. And it's easy to say, oh, well, it's probably 50 feet, and when you find out it's 150 feet.
Well, see, originally, I wasn't even worried, because I was pretty sure, I was almost certain the Drummonds would have a snake.
Mm-hmm.
Because last year, I have a 150-foot split snake. It is now in the walls in the studio. I completely disassembled it. Now I have a 100-foot snake and a box that I need to put back together. Mm-hmm. So now it's just going to be a 100-foot, 24-channel snake. I didn't have time. And I thought the Drummonds would be okay to, let me borrow it. Well, they just happened to pick up, like, the day before I called them. Oh, we just picked up a last-minute gig.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh my, but they're like, you know what? We got 2 18s and 4 15s you can use, but we don't have a snake. So I had everything but the snake and speaker cables. That was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, basically I'm going to be standing on stage, not knowing what's coming out the mains. But, I was like, you know what? Jimmy's inside, and I didn't know if you had a snake or not. And I was like, Jimmy's inside. I got a 20-foot snake. He's not going to need more than that, and I don't have anything. So at least there was a snake. And the thing is, I knew how far I had to be away from that stage, and the other problem I had was electricity.
Mm-hmm.
They moved the stage further away from the 220 that was coming in. I didn't have enough cable to do that, and I didn't have something to go from 220 to 110. But they did have, I think they had 2 20-amp 110 circuits. That ran that whole stage and ran my front of house. A guy showed up and he brought like 200-foot cable. And I couldn't believe I didn't fry an electrical cable or something. I couldn't believe that.
You were sucking a lot of power.
I was sucking a lot of power through small electrical. I wasn't like we had 10 gauge, a big thick cable running to the stage to run all my, I was just like, crossing my fingers.
Now, do you rack your amps on stage? Are your amplifiers on stage?
Yeah. Everything's amplifier power on stage, closest to because you want the power closest to the speakers. If you run your power cables too long, from your speakers to your amps, you end up losing. You lose wattage. You lose everything. The longer you run, the worse, the more problems you'll have.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
So, amps closest to speakers, heavy gauge speaker cables as small as you can, short as you can get them, and then ultimately, usually you want the electricity as close to all that as possible, and then run that all together and run your snake up, and you have just all you need back up front of house is you need to power your rack and your mixer. That's it. And, that's the only thing that I try to keep that as simple as possible, but with that gig, it was weird, man, because so unprepared for it, and I had so little time to prepare for it. They just called me out of the blue, and I didn't.
Oh, so you weren't scheduled to do sound until when did they contact
They
you?
talked to me a month before, but I didn't confirm anything.
Mhm.
I just said, hey, I'll try to help you guys out, but I'm not. I said, if I help you guys out, I was kind of at the end there with working with them, you know.
It's the Jimmy Fro Show.
All right, so we are live in the Jimmy Fro Laboratory, a.k.a. an ordinary living room, talking to Mr. Nate Mackey, sound guy, musician, all around.
Anything with sound, man. Anything.
Absolutely.
Sound by the pound. I'm done with that.
So we got this thing together mostly to talk about Ruckus Fest because we were the two sound guys on each end of the end zone, so to speak.
Yes, we were. It was ridiculous. It was it wasn't as bad as '08, but it was in so many different aspects with just getting the major PA system set up outside. It was kind of a setback. We got set back a few hours, but we got it up and running. And the fact that you were inside, there was 2 different stages being run, with 2 good systems, we did it. We did it.
Now, when you did Ruckus in '08, you were the only sound guy for that?
It wasn't called Ruckus in '08. It was Further Mind Fest.
Oh, okay.
And it was, I don't know how tied in with Ruckus it was, but it was one of the guys was the same. He ran it. I ran both stages. I ran the stage outside, then ran the stage inside. I got there at 6 in the morning and left at 6 in the morning, and I was the sound guy for all the bands all day long. It was a marathon, and I pulled it off. It was quite an accomplishment for me, but I think I almost passed out a few times. There was a lot more crazy stuff going on. There was torrential downpours. There was high winds. I had a tent over me that blew away, almost ruined all my gear, stuff like that. There was a lot of teamwork involved with that, with just people showing up. Nobody. It was kind of a weird thing again with trying to get help and every man for himself kind of thing.
Okay.
And I know how you were in this one.
Yeah.
Going, what's going on? That's kind of something I learned to expect.
Well, we were talking about that, and sometimes when you're in this business, because there's not a whole lot of demand, you end up doing a lot of stuff for free.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't mind that once in a while, but the little things go a long way. If I'm doing something for free, check in on me. Give me a beer.
Something. Exact. That's where I'm at with it. That's one of the things that I've noticed that, if I'm doing something for you for free, at least give me the common decency to, like I said, check on me. I don't know. You don't even have to. It's not like you gotta beat up my butt, right there. But at least, kind of, I don't know, get my back. But if I'm doing something for free, that means we're gonna be a team. I got your back, get mine.
Right.
It's real simple. It's not like it's rocket science.
Right.
It's common decency. It's just being a good dude. So, and I saw that a lot of that. I kind of saw that with you, and I kind of already knew what I was walking into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew I was pretty much on my own, and I wasn't going to get really any help unless somebody offered it, and I got lucky. Guy just happened to work on stages, happened to offer the help.
Yeah, the guy that was doing the sound apprenticeship.
The guy that was doing the sound apprenticeship just kind of offered to help, and it was kind of a holy cow. And he ended up hanging out all day until the last band.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he left before the last band went on, but that was really a great thing because having that little bit of help ended up getting the system up and running by 3 o'clock. Ended up, took a lot of stress off of me because being on the outside stage, I had a lot going on. I think I didn't want to say it was a lot more going on than you had going on because I didn't
No.
really know. But I mean, I know I had 10 or 12 mics up. I had a lot I was dealing with a lot of people running back and forth with just trying to set the bands up.
And when you have no walls and no ceiling, you know that just expands your arena of what you have to work with.
Right.
You have no sound reverberation, no walls to bounce off of. You need more power.
Yeah, you need more power, but at the same time, it's a great thing that you have no walls and no ceilings because you don't have to deal with all the crap that you have to deal with inside. With what you had a concrete building with glass and all that, and it was insane. I walked in there, I'm like, oh my god! I did sound in there once. I'm never doing sound here again. If I was ever going to do it again there, I was like, I'm outside, and that was it. It's great. It was cool, but I needed more power. I was lucky. I happened to bring some stuff. There was some stuff there. I was lucky to be able to kind of get the extra power that we needed. It wasn't so much power, it was just get the extra speakers with bigger speakers.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of what I needed. I ended up being able to pull it off a little bit, I mean, it was close. It was like on that line of either pulling it off or something. If one thing went wrong with that system, the whole system would have been down. Mm-hmm. And I was I'm very thankful that nothing went down.
Well, for those that weren't there and that aren't familiar with the Ruckus Fest, let's just set it up a little bit. This was something that the ruckusradio.net put together. I understand they got a grant, so they did get a pretty decent bill. A lot of out-of-town bands, some local bands. It was held down at the down there where the Rust Belt Brewery is.
Yeah, B&O Station.
B&O Station.
Yeah.
And they got the boxcar bar.
Yeah.
So you were outside in the parking lot on the main stage.
Yes.
And I was inside.
There was a third stage. I think they had like altogether like 4 stages or something.
Yeah, and to Trevor and Mo's credit, the acoustic stage out there by the river or the creek was actually pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah, I was impressed because I was like, I was really expecting, hey, do you have any extra this or that? And I'm like, you know what? No, guys.
Yeah.
Don't even.
No one showed up. My grandpa's going to play a couple songs.
yeah, I was kind of, and it, about halfway through the day, later on in the day, it started kind of hitting off. Heck, Teddy Pantelis showed up. That was cool. There was a lot of cool bands that I didn't expect that I've never heard before, like the Jersey Boys, all them Jersey bands. There was like 4 or 5 bands from Jersey, if not more, and they all kind of came at once. And it was kind of cool. They knew some of the guys that I know from up there, up in New York and Jersey. They all kind of have been in each other's studios and stuff, and people that I know. It was kind of cool connecting to more people that know the same people. When you're a musician, you're on tour, and you don't realize how many people that know other people that you know from somewhere else in the country.
Right.
And it's really a cool thing to kind of, connect with more people. There's some cool guys. There was a lot of cool stuff went on. It was it wasn't as hard as it could have been. And, to their credit, this one went off a little bit better.
Yeah.
There wasn't as many people as I remember in '08, but I also don't remember. I'm trying to remember '08 sometimes. But it was a cool thing. I really get ticked off at Youngstown sometimes for I feel like people, Warren, Youngstown, everybody complains about not having stuff to do or not having, no bands come around or this and that. But then...
Well, you serve it up to them, and you're like, where are they?
Where's everybody at? Let them all know.
It was in the Vindicator.
Yeah.
A lot of anticipation, a lot of building.
Yeah. It's very frustrating, and that's kind of why I put the PA system away. That's why I started just going, okay, I removed myself from this so-called music scene. The music scene that is here, a lot of the musicians that I've met, now I'm saying there's the musicians